Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here. It's going to be my patch 11.2 Demonology Warlock DPS guide. In it, we'll be covering talents, rotations, single target AOE, tier sets, stat weights, basically anything you need to know to be the best Demonology Warlock that you actually can. Now, very briefly, I do want to say that we're going to have talent builds in this video that are correct for this current point in time, but things may change. So I would encourage you to check my website, kalamazi.gg, for any more up-to-date changes. The site will have them. I can't update videos, but I can update the site. Regardless, let's get into it. When it comes to tier sets for Demonology Warlock in patch 11.2, there are technically two because they are based around hero talents this patch. The first one up here is Diabolist, and it says, for the two-piece, Hand of Gul'dan cast at full power summons a demonic oculus, up to 3. It's a little eyeball over your character's head, basically, consuming a demonic art, which is whenever you summon a Pit Lord or a Mother of Chaos or an Overlord, the big demons for Diabolist, flings the demonic oculi at your current target, exploding for fire damage on the target and also on surrounding mobs within 10 yards for AOE. The 4-piece says whenever you basically explode your demonic oculi, they analyze the battlefield and deliver information to you. TLDR, they give you a 2% intellect buff per eye you fling for 10 seconds, and you have 3 eyeballs max, so a max of 6% intellect for 10 seconds. You're cycling these pretty quickly, so you maintain about a 70-ish% uptime on the actual buff itself. It's pretty strong. It's sort of hard to see and mostly all passive, but it's fun. It's cool. You summon big demons, you're flinging eyeballs around. Pretty sick. The Soul Harvester version. The 2-piece says Shadow of Death, which is going to be the backpack demon, the guy that spawns on your back for Soul Harvester. He's like a big purple demon, sort of hard to see. He spawns in melee with a 2-piece. Shadow of Death unleashes your demonic soul to assault your current target for 12 seconds, dealing shadow damage and more shadow damage to enemies within 10 yards with each swipe. So basically your demonic soul jumps into melee and does damage in a single target and also does damage to enemies around him for 10 seconds swiping. It's actually a pretty good bit of damage, ends up being a good bit of burst damage overall whenever you Tyrant, which is very solid and good to see. The 4-piece builds upon that and says demonic soul damage is increased by 45% and wicked reaping damage is also increased by 45%. In addition to that, your demonic soul generates 1 soul shard every 3 seconds while he's assaulting enemies. So basically, you're going to generate 3 soul shards over the duration he's in melee, thrashing around, swiping. It used to be he was active for 12 seconds. They reduced it to 10, so he generates 3 shards now. Basically, 1 shard every 3 seconds when he's in melee thrashing around. Shard generation for Demonology is much easier. You can generate shards in a much faster, more efficient manner than you can, let's say, Affliction. But regardless, free shards are free shards, and in general, the 2-piece and the 4-piece, they equal a pretty solid damage increase overall. Now, when it comes to Demonology Warlock stat weights in patch 11.2, the best way to tell the stat weights for your own character is to run a raidbots.com top tier sim with gems and enchants taken into account to give you the highest overall output for what you want to socket and what you want to enchant for your character. If you don't want to do that, you can follow the general priority of intellect, haste, crit is basically equal to versatility, and then mastery. But it's very, very important to sim your character because your character's gear will vary from mine, it'll vary from the overall BIS sim, and that will change and skew stat weights towards various things. In the end, if you don't want to do that, it's fine. You can just follow basically haste, crit, equal to versatility, and then mastery. But know if you don't want to sim your own character, you're leaving damage on the table, which could be easily found by running a raidbots.com top gear sim. Alrighty, now getting into 11.2 Demonology Warlock talents, both in single target and AOE, we're going to look at both Diabolist here and Soul Harvester, because you're probably going to play both Diabolist and Soul Harvester to some extent in 11.2 content due to how they're similar, but also a little different with, varying damage profiles. Now, as far as single target is concerned, if you're looking to play Demonology, this is it. Nothing changes between Diabolist and Soul Harvester. In single target, you're going to play the same talents here. For the most part, it's pretty similar to what you played in the past. A couple little changes have been made, though. They've removed Reign of Tyranny. You just have Master Summoner now, which is a cast time reduction on Dreadstalkers, Vile Fiend, and Tyrant, and a mastery increase. They made your Vile Fiend, or basically your purple or red dog, 25-second cooldown, not 30. They swapped places of Pact of the Imp Mother and Umbral Blaze, so you can get Pact much easier now. And they buffed Immutable Hatred and the 2 crit buffs around them a bunch as well, which means that this has become much stronger in single target and basically what you're going to play in those settings. Not much really changes here as far as talents are concerned. You're no longer playing like the dog-based talents like we were last patch because our tier set is no longer based around, the big greater Dreadstalker anymore. Now, once again, if you're going to play Soul Harvester here, you just swap and things stay exactly the same, except for hero talent changing. As far as these are concerned, Diabolist spawns in like larger demons, Mother of Chaos, Pit Lords, Overlords, and Soul Harvester is more based around spending shards, which are succulent and they empower your Hand of Gul'dans to do more damage, but also bring Shadow of Death and other, various bonus effects. But they're both pretty similar rotationally. We get to that in a minute here. Now, as far as Mythic Plus builds for Demonology are concerned, there are sort of two different ways you can go with it. Once again, the talents here are going to be the same for both Diabolist and Soul Harvester based on the build you want to play. Now, this is the Immutable Hatred, or at least where I would start with like the Immutable Hatred build for Mythic Plus. Big changes here. You're not playing Umbra Blaze anymore. You're playing Fire Dog, playing Shadow Invocation, playing Dreadlash, a couple other cleave-based talents here as well. And the big thing is that this build, unlike the ones you've seen in 11.1, is no longer playing Doom. Now, Doom is, it's hard to say because this build here brings a lot of extra single target with Immutable Hatred, Tactics, and Brutality, but Doom also brings the ability to spread multiple Dooms on different targets to have them pop, summon Doom Guards, AOE damage, more relevant on trash packs and things than single target, but still not terrible. However, specking out of Hatred does lose you a decent bit of single target value. So right now I've been messing with a build like this. Things might change a bit. Maybe move Shadow Invocation to Umbra Blaze's position, maybe move it somewhere else into like maybe Dread Calling. Not sure where it's going to land. This has been like the best experimental build for me for Immutable Hatred. If you want to play Doom, you just pull these three and go 1, 2, 3, and there you go. You're likely going to see both early on. I'm probably going to lean more towards playing Doom, possibly initially, and see where they go, but you are leaving a good bit of single target on the table if you're not playing Hatred, Tactics, and Brutality and all that as well. But obviously, there's not really any emphasis or really any relevancy when it comes to AOE and things. Hatred is just a whatever mob you're hitting, Demon Bolt, well, it's going to do Immutable Hatred damage. That's more or less it. So, but if you want links to any of these builds, they're all down below in the description. And once again, I would highly encourage you to check my website, kalamazi.gg, for more up-to-date talent builds. If things change, I can update that on the fly. And yeah. Alright, now as far as Demonology's opener and single target and maintenance rotation is concerned, it's not anywhere near as complicated as some make it out to be. Demonology is actually pretty simple once you get the hang of it. There is some RNG in the opener. At times you might get extra demonic core procs, which are instant cast demon bolts. At times you might get instant cast called Dreadstalkers from a talent called Demonic Calling. But for the most part, as long as you react to those appropriately, even if you don't react appropriately, it's still basically the same. Now, as far as the opener is concerned, you're going to want to precast Power Siphon before the boss is pulled. One thing to note here, it's very important to have an imp tracker, weak core of sorts. I have one right here. You can get it from my Discord, website, Twitch, all that stuff, Wago. I have 2 imps here. One's going to despawn about now. Now I have 1. It's very important to siphon when you have 2 imps out. If you siphon with 1 imp out, it only gives you 1 demonic core from Power Siphon. It's up to 2 wild imps, so you have to watch that before the boss is pulled and time it to precast it appropriately. Besides that, I'll cast one right about now. When one spawns in, we'll siphon in a second here, and we'll start precasting a Shadow Bolt about 3-ish seconds before the boss is pulled. So we're going to siphon right here, back up a little bit. Boss being pulled pretty much right about now. We're going to precast Shadow Bolt, precast 2, go Grimoire, Hell Strike and give you a shard, Charhound, Shadow Bolt, Dreadstalkers being instant there, then go Hand of Gul'dan, Demon Bolt, Hand of Gul'dan, Demon Bolt, Hand of Gul'dan. If you have an extra shard left around, you can typically throw a Hand of Gul'dan there too. Tyrant, Trinkets, Demonic Strength, and just build shards. 3, cast a Hand of Gul'dan, 3 shards, build 3 shards again here. Cast a Hand of Gul'dan, 3 shards, and this is Demonology. You're going to cast your Dreadstalkers on cooldown, basically. You can Power Siphon for the most part on cooldown, and cast your Charhound on cooldown as well. But very important when you're going to Power Siphon, you don't want to overcap on demonic cores. Like, for example, I have 2 right here, but I know I'm getting 2 more in a second from these dogs expiring, so I don't really want to siphon there if I had it available. But regardless, though, Demonology is basically just casting 3 shard Hand of Gul'dans, casting dogs on cooldown, casting your Charhound on cooldown, and setting up Tyrants appropriately. Now, I know I'm going to have Tyrant in about 20-ish seconds here, so I can begin prepping my next Tyrant ramp right about now, give or take. So I'm going to cast one more hand here, build some shards. I'm going to Power Siphon, cast Bolt, build the 5 shards, go Charhound, Shadow Bolt here, Dreadstalkers, Hand of Gul'dan, Bolt, Hand of Gul'dan. I'll cast Inferno Bolt here, and Hand of Gul'dan again, but it could be a Demon Bolt there too. Tyrant, Demonic Strength. And once again, begin casting 3 shard Hand of Gul'dans, Empowered abilities from your Pit Lord and everything are fine as well. And this is the same rotation for Soul Harvester. Whether it's Diabolist or Soul Harvester, it's the same rotation. Your Tyrant can extend a max of 10 imps. It used to be 15, now it's 10, so don't get too worried about if you have, 12 out, not 15 anymore. 10 is the max. At the same time, you want to cast Charhound in between every Tyrant, with it being a 25-second cooldown, compared to the Tyrant being a minute cooldown. So as long as you don't forget to hit it, you can get one between every Tyrant. Now, at the same time, we have Grimoire Felgar coming off cooldown here. This is a 2-minute cooldown. Tyrant is 1. So you're going to have basically this big Tyrant with a Grimoire in it, small Tyrant, big Tyrant, small Tyrant sequencing, basically every other Tyrant, right? So we'll begin to set up here. So same thing, cast Grimoire, back to 5 shards, cast Charhound, back to 5, cast Shred Stalkers, Hand of Gul'dan, Demon Bolt, Hand of Gul'dan, Demon Bolt, Hand of Gul'dan. I now have like 12 imps out, Tyrant, Demonic Strength, Trinkets, and that's it. There's not a whole lot to it. It's actually pretty simple once you get the hang of it and stuff. The best way to learn is hitting a dummy. But honestly, Demonology is pretty straightforward. It just gets a this spec is difficult kind of rap because you're playing with pets. But honestly, not that bad at all. Okay, when it comes to Demonology and AOE Mythic Plus based scenarios, there are a couple things I want to hit on here. Number one, I'm going to show you guys the not Immutable Hatred build, the Doom build here. Now, Immutable Hatred is just passive. So if you're going to play that build in M Plus and not the Doom build, you just literally hit one target all the same. You don't need to worry about spreading dooms to multiple targets, and that's fine. It's basically just the same rotation without spreading multiple Demon Bolt casts or spreading dooms. If you're playing Doom here, this is what you want to see, but same thing besides that everywhere else. Now, as far as AOE and Implosion, we'll get to that too. It's once again very important to have a weak aura for tracking imps here, which I have as well. Implosion is basically a relevant DPS gain at 3 or 4 more targets. I think it's a minor gain at 3 at this point. They continually are buffing the damage of imps, but not buffing Implosion. So imps, not imploding imps is becoming more and more relevant over the last few patches, even in like higher target counts. It used to be you wanted to implode in 2 or more stack targets. Now it's like 3, I think, is a very minor gain. 4 is where you see the larger gains coming in, which you'll encounter most of the time in M+, but, well, important to mention that just in case you're confused about things changing from the past. Now, we are playing Diabolist here. Once again, if you're playing Soul Harvester, it's basically the same thing. Soul Harvester just generates some shards after you cast your Tyrant and gives you 3. You just cast a Hand of Gul'dan, when you're at 3 shards, so on and so forth. But regardless here, we're going to say we're heading into a trash pack in M+, the tank's rounding it up. It's sort of hard to emulate here because we're at dummies. That's fine. I'd assume we have some imps out here. You have some demonic cores. We're going to siphon and all that. Pack's being rounded up here. Just going to go in. Basically, if I have 5 shards, throw a bolt here, sure. So we're going to go Grimoire. I'm going to cast the 5 shards, cast Charhound, 5 shards, go Dreadstalkers, cast Demon Bolt on a different target, Hand of Gul'dan, Shadow Bolt again, sure, why not, Hand of Gul'dan, and then Tyrant, Trinkets, Demonic Strength. Now you can see I hit a different target there, which is important because we are playing Doom, once again the talent. So every target you hit with a instant cast Demon Bolt, basically a demonic core, it's going to spread Doom. This target here, doomed. New target, Hand of Gul'dan, Demon Bolt, Doom. Casting Hand of Gul'dan should be only 3 shards, don't cast 2 shards like me. But besides that, you're just in a Charhound here. On cooldown, casting dogs on cooldown for the most part, and spreading dooms. Hand of Gul'dan, Demon Bolt, Hand of Gul'dan, Demon Bolt, Hand of Gul'dan, Demon Bolt. And basically, you can see right here, there are 3 or 4 dooms rolling. They're going to be reduced in duration. We're going to reapply one here. And so you're cycling through these dooms to basically have like different dooms popping at different times, and then reapplying dooms to the mobs that, Doom basically expired on. That's basically it. You're a Tyrant the same. As far as like AoE is concerned, let's say I have Tyrant coming up about now. I can cast Charhound. Once again, cast dogs. Hand of Gul'dan, Bolt, Hand of Gul'dan, Bolt. Try to get 10 imps, Hand of Gul'dan again, Tyrant, hit Strength, and you're good to go. Obviously, don't let Demonic Cores expire, and obviously, only cast 3-shard Hand of Gul'dans and all that. Now, we did mention the Implosion Rotation, which I want to talk about here as well. I have 18 imps right now. See, they're expiring here. Implode. Optimally, you don't want to implode during your Tyrant, but at the end of Tyrant, when he's going to expire and such, that's when you want to implode if you can wait that long, and all of that. Basically, the Implosion Rotation revolves around imploding imps before they expire. When I first did my opener here, I was talking to you guys about maintaining pets and everything else, but when my Tyrant expired initially, I would have imploded there as well if I was in an actual setting, because I had a lot of imps out and there's 4 targets here. Now, the way the implosion rotation more or less works is you'll build to 5-ish shards, like about now. Say you have some demonic cores laying around, I have 2. I'll build some imps by going Hand of Gul'dan, Demon Bolt, Hand of Gul'dan, Demon Bolt, Hand of Gul'dan. And then usually you'd implode around here, but this reducing like color and numbers here is showing the remaining number of casts and basically how long they have until that set expires. So you'll see I'll cast 2 different hands here. This corresponds to the first hand. That was 3 shards. This corresponds to the next hand, which was 3 shards. These are going to expire now, so I'll fling them instead. You want to basically get as many imps out as possible before the first set you spawned in expires. You basically want to implode 6 or more imps. If you have 3 out, it's not a big deal. It's 6 or more is really where you want to be, but you can get 9, 10, 12, 13 more if you get packed in with the procs as well. So basically knowing when to implode 3 or 4 or more stacked targets and building imps, and then knowing when to implode when they're lower on energy, tyrants expired and all that is it's how you, I guess, how you better learn demonology in a more efficient manner, I should say. So let's say, for example, we're heading into a pack here, we're tyranting whatever, building shards like usual. There we go. Apply a doom here, go here, apply a doom. One more hand, we'll tyrant here, trinket, whatever, demonic strength. If you're playing soul harvester here, you'll generate 3 shards where you tyrant. Besides that, same thing. So I have 15 imps out here. These are gray because tyrant has frozen their energy. He basically has extended them. Right now, tyrant's gonna expire right about now. Implode. So when they go gray like that, that's because Tyrant, when he comes out, he basically freezes the energy of the imps, he extends their duration, so they're casting more, but not expiring. But the Weak War will update and become like the colored marks again when he expires, which is your cue to be like, I can now implode. If you have, you know, the recommended number of imps that are higher in AOE. So not too complicated, might sound more complicated than it actually is here. That's a Doom Guard from a Doom expiring. TLDR, casting dogs on cooldown, casting Charhound on cooldown, imploding when you can. And if you're playing Doom, making sure to weave Doom on different targets as much as possible, because Doom, when it pops on a target, it hits all the targets. And multiple Dooms means a chance at multiple Doom Guards as well. So thanks for watching, guys. It wraps it up. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and hopefully it helped you guys maybe like learn a bit more about Demonology Warlock heading into patch 11.2. Currently, Demonology looks really good when it comes to Mana Forge Omega, the new raid. It looks solid in M+. Warlock lacks utility. The grass is green, the sky is blue. Some things are just ways of parts of life, and that's, well, how Warlock is in M+. But regardless, though, if you guys want any weekly or add-ons, links to Discord as well as the website up here, and also down below in the description. At the same time, a massive thank you to our supporters on Patreon for all support, guys. Like always, thank y'all a million times. I greatly appreciate it. It allows me to keep making videos for y'all and just doing what I'm doing, and without y'all support, I wouldn't be able to. So I greatly appreciate it. If you're looking at supporting on Patreon, also should be a link up here as well as down below in the description. Like I said, I want to emphasize again that while talent builds and things in this video are correct at this current point in time, things may change with tuning when the patch comes out, when the raid comes out, and all that. So I would encourage you to check my website, kalamazi.gg, for more up-to-date talent builds as well as rotational things. They're all on the site in a text version of this video. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you all again soon on stream. Peace.